You 1,000,000% can still make millions on Etsy, but hardly anyone has what it takes to do it. I built 2 7-figure businesses, and my entire background is corporate e-commerce. My first 7-figure business was Etsy. But by the time I started Etsy, I had a very successful career in corporate e-commerce, and I applied all the principles from that to the Etsy platform. And what exactly does that look like? Today, I'm going to break down what your life might look like if you want to make at least a minimum of $30,000 a month on Etsy. If you're interested in working closely with myself and my team, I now have a company of about 25 people where we teach Etsy sellers how to scale their businesses using corporate e-commerce principles. And before we get started, if you would simply like our free 7-day game plan to grow your shop, just comment below game plan and we will send that to you. What does it look like to make $30,000 a month on Etsy today? Number 1, we've got to throw the idea of balance out the window. There are so many influencers and YouTubers out there who are selling this idea, you have total time freedom, passive income, you can just do whatever you want, wake up when you want, and have this like laptop lifestyle. The way you get that total freedom is by having an insane amount of self-discipline that most people don't have. And if you want to make millions on Etsy, you're going to have different seasons, and different seasons have different priorities. If you're starting from ground zero and you're trying to make millions on Etsy, I promise you're not going to have this perfectly balanced pie chart where you have, 33% for your family, 33% for your business, 33% for leisure. It's not going to look like that at all. Those percentages will really change through different seasons of your life. So if you're trying to get a brand new Etsy shop off the ground to be making potentially millions of dollars, you are going to have to prioritize that above everything for a period of time. Number 2, if you're an Etsy seller, you are going to want to start your day by eating the biggest frog first. Someone I recommend following, Cody Sanchez, she pointed this out. It's a Mark Twain quote, and it said, if you have to eat a frog, eat him in the morning. If you have to eat 2 frogs, eat the big one first. And this is the idea that in a day, in a week, in a season, when it comes to your shop, do the revenue generating activities first. This means probably not binge watching YouTube videos. This means probably not doing brainstorming busy work. It also means probably not spending all your time doing that fun creative work that you enjoy, but that doesn't really get you anywhere. And sometimes it means not spending your time doing the products that you enjoy doing the most. Instead, look at what has the potential to make you the most money today and do that first. And if something is not a revenue generating activity, you might consider taking it off your list. So this is what a typical day for me as an Etsy seller making over $30,000 a month would look like. Number 1, wake up at 5 a.m., respond to all the messages and orders that came in overnight. Because remember, the early bird gets the worm. When someone messages you, they're messaging 3 to 4 other shops. Then I'm going to go ahead and print the labels for the orders that are shipping today. I'm also going to make a list of duties for the house manager. Yes, the key is not trying to do it all yourself. It's outsourcing, when appropriate, the lowest dollar per hour tasks. Then I'm going to eat something, get the kids up, and get them ready for school. As soon as I drop them off, I come home and I start sorting my orders for the day in my order dashboard from ship by date. What I love doing is batching different orders. So this means, taking all the orders for X product category that have to ship in the next 7 days and doing all of those at once, then move on to the next product type, then the next product type. And I recommend really paying attention to the times of the day that you have the most creative energy. You don't want to spend that time of the day sitting on the couch messaging your customers. While I'm working, I am not watching TV. I'm not listening to nonsense or music. I am actually consuming business content. So this is usually business podcasts or courses, or one of my favorite things to do is listening to church sermons. While I'm working, I'm also listening to things that help me with trend research. And then midday, again, reply to your Etsy messages, get something to eat, and get fueled up to go again. So you'll get a second wind, go back to production, more orders, pick up the kids, some more messaging, more packaging, easier things where you can start for 2 minutes, stop for 2 minutes, things that you can do while you're distracted. Then get the kids to bed, do all the social media and the sneak peeks. I always did my social media at night when I was nursing my little one and I was stuck in the chair. Once the kids are in bed, message all the people who ordered again, and then start with more production and prepping the orders for tomorrow. Also at night, this is when we would be cutting on the laser because we had a strict HOA neighborhood where people didn't love all the smoke coming out of our garage. And that was literally 5 days a week, and the weekends honestly didn't look a whole lot different. Now, the third thing, if you are trying to make at least 30 grand per month on Etsy, remember this: when they go left, you go right. So stop doing what everyone else is doing and selling what everyone else is selling. If you get all of your product ideas from YouTube videos that tell you that if you make this product, you are going to make $10,000 a month, we have a problem. The strategy of going to Everbee, finding the best sellers, copying them, and tweaking them is not a long-term business strategy. When you watch a video that says the top 10 trends for Etsy in this year, and you go out and just do those 10 trends, that is not going to get you places. And the reason is because Etsy is one of the last places to get trends. So if you are simply copying what is reported as a trend on Etsy, you are 6 to 8 months too late. We're not going to be just chasing down what's already trending on Etsy. If you're trying to hit 30K per month, you're going to need to be a market leader, which means bestseller badges all over your shop. And you're not going to do that if you're just chasing down top selling listings from other people. All right, number 4, the habit of shaping your extracurriculars into things that support your business goals. For example, going on a trip. Okay, maybe combine that on a trip to get inventory. This is what we would do. We'd want to go stay at a nice hotel, right? We have all these credit card points. Okay, let's go find a fancy hotel, Newport Beach or something near LA. So you're combining like a fun, fancy hotel stay with a trip to get inventory. Tax write-off, right? Maybe you like mind-numbing kind of reality TV or music. Well, consider replacing that with more business podcasts or YouTube videos related to business. So fuel your mind with creativity and problem solving related to your goals. If you're really big into shopping, maybe start just ordering everything you need online and replace those shopping trips with trips to different wholesalers. And really hire out the low dollar per hour tasks, the non-essentials, cooking, cleaning, whatever you have on your plate that's not supporting your business goals that you can pay someone less than your hourly wage to do that. Number 5, we want to say yes to everything and figure it out later. If you're not doing this, it is going to take you way longer to get to 30K months. In the first several thousand orders, I recommend never turning down a customer request unless the person's crazy. You know the crazy people, the nightmare customers where they are not worth a minute of your time. So for me, I started with 2 products in my Etsy shop, and then I simply said yes to every single request that came my way. Can you make this? Can you do it this? Can you try this way? Yes, absolutely, right? Even if I didn't know how to make something, I would say yes and I would figure it out. And that strategy took me from 2 products, 2 listings to 800 plus listings. And out of the 1.6 to 1.7 million I've done on Etsy in revenue, only about 600,000 of that came from product ideas that were my own ideas. Everything else was a say yes, figure it out later product. The next way to get to 30K months is to prioritize what's going well versus what's not going well. Right now, we're going to rework that 80-20 rule. Realistically, 80% of your revenue is going to come from 20% of your listings. What we don't want to do is spend 80% of our time trying to improve the 80% of our listings that are not driving enough revenue. Instead, we want to spend 80% of our time or more, a lot more, on the 20% of the listings that are driving the most of your revenue. Really probably spend 99.9% of your time on that. One of my mentors, Alex Hormozy, teaches the More, Better, New principles. I actually did a video about this, applying it to Etsy. So definitely check that out. So this means taking the listings that are selling well and doubling down on those. To get to 30K months, you don't want to spend your time focusing on things that aren't selling and trying to figure out why people don't want it. That's not how we want to spend our time. The next thing is that success loves speed, and you will not hit 30K plus months if you keep overthinking. What I'm really finding in the last couple years is that most people are so slow when it comes to making big things happen. They have these ideas in their mind of what they want to achieve, but the actions and the goal, they are not at all in alignment. I find that overthinking creates to a lot of indecision, and indecision is the worst way to make a decision because that is a decision. I see this every day. It is like nails on a chalkboard to me, watching people just waste years of their life away through indecision. You've got to be decisive. Now, I've seen this before where it's difficult to be decisive if you don't know what you're doing. So I recommend finding someone, whether it's me or another e-commerce mentor, because that is going to teach you the process of how to make smart decisions for your shop. And as you see your decisions paying off, you will become much more decisive on your own over time, and you will move much, much faster. But you've got to move quickly. Do not take a month to decide what to sell. Do not even take a week to decide your shop name. And do not take a month to fix your your photos or your SEO. Be the type of person who will knock something out, really a get it done type of person. So many people are planning to get it done type of people, thinking about what they're going to do type of people, but they're not really doing anything at all. They end up in the same place for months and years. And if you don't know how to be decisive in business, find someone who will teach you that. All right, the next thing with Etsy, and I see this a lot with some of my fastest growing shops. Like I had a student go from 50 sales to 3,500 sales in less than 2 months, or someone who went from 250 sales to over 18,000 sales in a year, doing over 50K per month, right? That type of growth brings on a ton of challenges. If you're going to be a $1 million Etsy shop, you cannot let the little things get you down. Oftentimes they don't seem like little things at the time, but you've got to recognize what they are. Whenever something happens in your shop or in your life, ask yourself, will this be something that's going to still impact me 5 years from now? This reminds me of actually one of my students who 1 year into working with us, she is now in the top 1% of Etsy sellers. She's doing over $50,000 a month. And she reminded me of this quote, "To whom much is given, much is expected." In other words, you could say bigger levels, bigger devils, right? And this is absolutely true on Etsy. You are going to come across some crazy people in some situations where you question, is this worth it? Why am I doing this, right? I will say this, if you want a simple, more mediocre life that is less complicated, you can absolutely have that. But if you truly, truly want a life that is extraordinary and full of options and full of freedom where you're truly limitless, you're going to go through things that make you question, can I handle this? Is it worth it? You'll think, am I cut out for this? Maybe it's dealing with absolutely psychotic customers. They personally attack you because of the font choice that they made and they hate it now. And it's your fault and you've ruined their entire month and their daughter's birthday and their relationship with their spouse, and it's your fault because of the font choice, right? Like, I've heard it all. Or maybe it's that you are so overwhelmed with the influx of orders and you think, oh my gosh, what have I done? What have I taken on? What have I said yes to? There is going to be wild times. It's a wild ride to $1 million on Etsy, but it's so worth it. You just have to expect that it's going to be really hard. And you have to expect that it's not going to be a simple path and a simple life to get there. I hope this reality check of what it really takes to get to, $30,000 months or more on Etsy is helpful to you, whether you are someone who is currently on that path to that level, or if you are making the decision that you are going to be on that path starting now. If you would like guidance on your path to growing on Etsy, definitely reach out to us. We have a program called the Ultimate Etsy Course and one-on-one coaching, where we provide private one-on coaching plus community, plus step-by-step e-commerce strategies to get you traction and to scale your business. You can just leave a comment if you would like more information on that, and we'll get in touch with you. All right, I'll see you in the next video.
After I joined the program, I gained so much clarity. Dylan is a wealth of knowledge and she shares all of her secrets with you. That coaching aspect of it, you can't get that through reading or watching videos. So that's what makes this program really unique.